Once again, it is the holiday season. Traffic is awful. Full stop. It's terrible. Um, I spoke with my customer today, and she told me that her ex husband saw a young person get ejected from a vehicle and like in a shopping area in Chandler. And he's like, yeah, I just saw her fly out and then she didn't move. And that's simply because people are about what they need to do right now. And if anybody's out there on the road, please be considerate of one another. I saw an accident not too long ago as well. Actually, Christmas from Comstock. Do you know what that is?
No.
Christmas on Comstock is a nationally recognized block that hooks their entire street up, synchronizes it to lights and sound, and holds it every Christmas. I think it was last week at this point, but they had a actual they had another fatality, a car accident. Young kid, I think he was 22. He and his young newborn lost them both, and they had to they shut it down for the night, and it is a big deal every holiday season. So another situation already, and we what 4 more days to Christmas, so we're not even there yet. Anyway, if you're shopping online or in the store and you don't have to deal with anything, let alone those consequences, but all the stress that comes with holiday traffic as well as the shopping in store. Hit us up at BUYTOBYE. We do on demand delivery, moving, staging, TV mounting, and assembly. And we do that all from the time we take care of you from the time you buy until the time we say goodbye. This here is our content creation side of the business. This is Buy to Buy Studios. So we take care of you, give you high quality, low stress, always remote controlled, and a sound decision. That is at Buy to Buy Studios everywhere you are. Jake, Festivus round
For
three.
the rest of us.
Round three.
Whew, man.
So where do we start, man? Where do we start?
Well, I guess we could start with the grievance of the dual close
The
that
real estate situation
the
that
real
has
estate situation
affected
that
us
was.
both, but completely different.
We went through Open Door, which I will never use again.
Oof.
And if that's something that works in the numbers for you, then go right ahead. But they will never have my business ever again.
Understood.
So, I mean, it was easy because we basically just we dual closed, which means we sold Open Door, our old house, and bought the new house. But um, trying to negotiate all that, and then we even had one of the best in the business doing it for us because even though it's one of those things that you can you can do real estate on your own with
Right.
Open Door. I was like, I'll have our professional friend just handle this,
No
and
doubt.
that was even more complicated. I had to go back to Illinois in the process of closing, and like they were being real weird about getting us our paperwork on time, kind of thing. And then they were fighting with us about shit that they needed to fix in the house. The paint that they repainted everything on is dog shit. You can walk up to it and pretty much rub it off with your bare hand to find the old tobacco tar stain paint that was all over this house before we moved in.
Yeah.
Um, this house still smells like old lady smoker from time to time, dude. I'm not. It's wild, but this professional deep cleaning that was supposed to happen. No, there's about like 2 inches of dust up on top of our cabinets we just found because we were hanging up curtains on the back patio because if you were like playing in the park, you can see right into our house. It's pretty
Nice.
cool. But
Nice.
yeah, that's another thing we have to work on is getting like some ivy or some shit back up there on that back fence because I'm not playing that goddamn game. I don't care what any HOA says. I don't care to look at the park to watch children play. I got, I got my, I got my own goddamn kids breaking shit in my house. But
Nothing creepy about that. Nothing creepy at all.
no. So We had the issue where the house flooded twice. Then there was the AC issue. Did I ever talk about that on here?
Briefly.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, we got that sorted out now because it's getting kind of colder, and we have a newborn in the house. Heaters are supposed to be on.
Not so much.
Well, one of them works.
Hmm.
The downstairs one, where the bedrooms are not.
Right, right.
So it's not just me sleeping on the couches with the toddlers anymore. Brittany's down here, Christopher's down here in his little bassinet, and we all get to fight sleep together as a team, as a cohesive unit. Just hanging in
Fantastic.
there. Pew, pew, pew. And like the problem with that is, so Christopher was born, he had breathing trouble.
Hmm.
So we had to run up to the NICU real quick. Shortest stay in NICU history at the Banner
Woo!
Ironwood. Not even a full 24 hours. Um, but, everybody's got colds and stuff too.
Yeah,
So, of course, now he's snotty and coughing, and he's like 2.5 weeks old. Shit's kind of scary. Like,
right.
and it's not like we can, like, okay, babe, we'll just take him upstairs and then where it's cold, and best of luck to you both. So, we're trying to get that all sorted out. This neighbor, this fucking neighbor I have, and it's not his wife necessarily, it's him. I like, because it used to be they'd come over at like 8 or 9 and knock on the door and be like, your dogs are keeping us awake.
Yeah.
I just, and I'd be like, go fuck yourself. Have a good night. What, my dogs that keep people away from my house like they're supposed to, doing their job. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So they just bark continuously?
No, only when people are like up by the fence, and that's it. So people walking by my house at night too close to my fence, dogs let them know back up,
Right.
which is what my dogs are supposed to do. And but anyway, so I'm loading all the kids up right after Christopher's born, and like this is where at the point like Brittany and I hadn't slept probably more than
Oh, they got you. They got you in it.
he hit me first. He hit me first thing in the morning at like 7 o'clock. At as I'm getting the toddlers loaded up. I've got the three big kids. And Jake, we have to talk. And I said, the fuck we do.
Oh man.
And he was like, no, we got. I said, you can fuck right off. I've got 6 kids. It's 7 in the morning. And I'm like, you can get off my fucking property. Like,
Yeah.
just losing it on this old man. And I was like, and I don't care. I've got a brand new baby in this house. You want me letting dogs in and out of the house with a newborn and the toddlers who aren't asleep? I don't care about what's going on at your house. Well, I got a dying wife if you want to do the math. And here's the part where that's bullshit because I talk to her every day. She's a fucking delight.
Oh man. So is he lying about that or?
Oh yeah, dude. He's just
Wow.
and like the thing is like I'm doing everything I can and not be just like super confrontational. Like I because I'm from the Midwest, man. I'm neighborly. Like a neighbor comes over, like you entertain
The grievance. Sure.
like okay, I'm doing my best for you. But holy fucking shit, man! Like this house is falling apart. My brand new baby's sick, and my neighbor's an asshole.
So
no one's
what's
no
his
one's sleeping.
what's his course of action? Like in terms of like a dog, because my
Well,
dog barks a little bit. Our neighbor dogs, they bark at one another. We each tell each other like that's annoying, stop, and then it kind of ceases. But like I know you got several dogs, so
yeah. Well, the thing is, like I told him, I said, he said, we got well, and I said, next time you come over here, bring a cop.
okay, so it's not gotten to that point yet.
No, that's what I told him. I was like, next time you come over here, you bring a cop.
Well, what is
because
a
my
cop gonna do?
not a goddamn thing. Because there's nothing that he can do.
It's a civil
There's nothing.
matter.
There's nothing the cops can do. There's nothing the HOA can do. Not a goddamn thing.
So
So I told.
he
So
just wants you to do the right thing.
he wants me to bend to his will, and he doesn't realize who he's talking to.
Okay.
So and that's the thing. Like I like when we moved in, like, well, what do you guys do? TDTDT. Brittany, I work in insurance, and like I'm a online coach. Oh, okay, cool. I did not dive into the details of, well, when I was 18, I got a job where I learned how to hunt people in foreign lands. I played with, like, see, like I don't like to dick measure like that. I know that makes no sense because I sit back here with this Marine Corps flag back here and I bring it up like, but like I really don't like
Spectrum,
dropping
bro.
that on,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I really don't like dropping that on strangers. Like it's not a,
Okay.
it's like
So does he? So he has no idea you're in the military.
no clue.
So do you think that if he did know, he would give you more respect and leave it be, or
I
deal
have
with
no
it?
idea. Like unless I go full blown like pick him up by his head next time he's on my property,
Yeah.
and then like whisper sweet things and other things to his ear, real quiet like.
So what if you order a pair of noise canceling headphones for he and his wife? No, I'm just throwing it out there
I
because
mean,
because we both understand that it's a civil matter. So police will laugh at it. They might come out just to make their presence felt and then understand who you are and they'll
yeah,
understand that their authority will do what it is. But the HOA, everything that he has a grievance with is a lack of accommodation, right?
yeah.
And so there's the argument, you don't like it here, leave. You've got
I
that
think,
argument. You've
but
got
so
the go ahead.
my whole thing is this is not an every night thing.
Okay.
It is definitely not an every night thing. Because I make sure it's my. Brittany and I have kind of butted heads about it because I'll bring the dogs in and get everyone situated and calm down, and she'll bring up like, well, why are you just bending like that? And I'm like, well, it's because I don't want to deal with it, but also like I am more of a dog person than she is. Like I'm one of those people that like dogs sleep in the bed.
Right.
Dogs can sit next to you on the couch, and that's not how she rolls. So the dogs don't sit on the furniture, and the dogs don't sleep in the bed. Blah
High
blah blah
five.
blah.
High five, Britt. Same page.
Hey, I mean, that's okay, I guess. I mean, there's lots of parts about me that she deals with. I suppose I can deal with her view on dogs.
There you go.
But
So
like,
so aside from
but it's not every night. It is
okay,
100% not every night. They're out right now because I'm doing this show,
yeah.
and I can't control them not waking the girls up like I could if I was outside getting the
So right now are they making any noise?
no.
Okay. And they won't unless triggered
Someone
by
comes up. Someone comes up by the fence.
and why would people come up by your fence? Just walking in your neighborhood?
Yeah,
Okay. And how long after they pass do the dogs stop barking?
pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Okay. And so the noise canceling headphones, how do you think that will be received? Do you think he'll be accepting of it? Do you think he'll think you're being considerate? Because you could literally lay all of everything we just spoke out. Bring the cops, they can't do anything. Call HOA, but then you're coming across as combative, right? You're not trying to
Mhm.
find a solution, which if he really wants to find a solution, he could go buy a pair of headphones by himself and you could tell him that. Go buy a pair of headphones. Or you could order just a decent pair, an okay pair, or just, something that's you can go to Home Depot and get the noise canceling, the worker ones. Who cares? But like just get something or even a box of earplugs. Something that says I understand how you feel. However, we both understand we have to agree to disagree. We have to learn to live with the inconvenience with each other's inconveniences. So his attitude is super inconvenient to you as much as the dog's barking. But he doesn't
He
look
wrote,
at himself as a barking dog, although that's how you see him.
well, he wrote me a really backhanded complimentary letter and
Do you
taped
have
it
it
to the
with
door.
you?
Oh, I threw it away.
Oh
Pretty
man,
threw it away.
That would have been perfect for this.
I would have loved to read it. I would. I was just thinking about that. I was like, oh, I got thrown away.
Damn.
But and it was always, oh, and what a baby before Christmas. What a blessing. Oh, and I just, if it comes down to it, I really wouldn't want to get the authorities or the HOA involved. And another thing I don't do well with is passive aggressive shit.
Yeah. The
Like,
microaggression stuff is
dude,
makes me want to do even less.
yeah, if you are a grown man, talk to me like a grown man. And if you ambush me as I'm loading my children into a vehicle, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Especially first thing in the morning, dude.
So okay, fair. No, I mean parenthood 1, new baby 2, several kids 3, dying dog 4, all the house shit we're talking about now 5, and not including any and everything else, but like the idea that he centers himself enough to where he thinks that if he applies enough pressure that you'll just sleep with the dogs inside. Like, how does that work? If you leave the dogs in all night, they eventually bark, right?
Yeah, well, because I let them out. They let me know when they gotta go out. And that's usually at 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And if there's somebody out there playing basketball, and it sounds like it's too close,
At 3 in the morning.
oh, dude, yeah.
Okay.
There's
So
teenage hooligans in this neighborhood.
that's one place you could definitely come at him is it is cause and react, right? So it's the causation of your dog's barking is some inconsiderate person shooting hoops at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So is he bringing that same energy to that person?
Fuck no. You better
Okay,
come talk
so
to me.
bring that up to him. Bring up to him the idea that it's nature for dogs to do what they're doing. It's not natural for someone to shoot ball at 3. It's not.
Right.
I mean, if you work whatever shift that makes you awake at 3 a.m., that's a choice. So it's like, yeah, there are levels to it. But whether it's earplugs, whether it's noise canceling, whatever's, it's a holiday season. So you could boomerang that thing back to him as a nice gesture in light of a letter, in light of the ambush, in light of all of the other reasons, because it sounds like what my experience with passive aggressive people is they're going to push your button until you cross a line to where the authorities can get involved, to where the HOA can get involved. And it's like a foul in the NFL, right? It's like
Mhm.
someone gets popped after the play or whatever, and then they react, and then they get called. The foul gets called on them, right? They draw the penalty, but they didn't start it. They weren't the antagonizer, right? So I'm concerned hearing this that he might, if he's cowardly enough to not one deal with it or two be proactive for his own peace, he's then going to cause more noise, and so he's just going to antagonize you to the point of you crossing the line to now it's something that you want to take personal because you're his problem as opposed to your dog's. And I would hate for him to trigger any of the PTSD you didn't give him the insight in, because if he thought you weren't nice then, if he's gonna deal
What's
with military, Jake,
what's that's not even military, Jake. It's just like I'm a man, you're a man, you're invading my space, especially in a vulnerable time.
well, no. So
You know,
how you see that as he sees that as an opportunity. Oh, he's got his
right?
hand full. He can't run away from me. He can't avoid me, right? So
Yeah,
that's the MO, right? That's what those kind of people do. They poke the bear, and then and in a time of fuck around and finding out, do you want to go viral for that, or
hitting an old man.
or do you want to buy him some earplugs and some noise canceling headphones and then make a post about it, video yourself walking up to him and get his reaction. Make it a social thing, because the way that you apply pressure back towards someone like that is by making it a public scene, because it's just
Okay.
you and him and your direct neighborhood, right? And your neighbors. You guys all live
Yeah.
kind of close to another, so I remember how tight that street is. So there's plenty of people aware of what's going on. But if it's the Phoenix, if it's the Valley of the Sun that knows about it, he might approach it differently when, because you know how people react in the comments, and then when they want to get involved in, you know, whatever that's called when you call the authorities on somebody, Vox, Dox, something like that,
Doxing or
doxing
yeah.
him. Yeah. So like there's different ways that you can apply pressure by doing a kind gesture, because you're clearly aware that he's not going to take it into his own hands. He's going to push your buttons until you do something,
Hmm.
and it's likely in the wrong, just because that's human nature.
What if I were to give a stern warning, like if you come onto my property again, I'm gonna smack you back onto yours.
Okay, tell me, just work that out for me. Work that out, the process of that. Tell me how you see that going.
Great.
Yes, in your hypothetical vacuum. Now, let's add a dying wife pressure. Let's add
She's
it.
not dying. I'm telling you, I talk to her every day. She's out walking around the neighborhood, kicking it,
But how do you know that she's not suffering in silence?
because she'd probably tell me.
Okay, man.
No,
Let's just assume that
let's
she
just
is.
just just assume that he's not full of shit. Okay.
Okay. Now, how does your reaction, the way you just described, help her or your relationship with her? Does it help or hurt it?
I don't know. I don't think it'd affect anything. She's from Brazil, dog. She's like she gets it.
Yeah, but
she no, but
but she
she's like
chose him.
yeah, but she's an old school Brazilian. She'd be like,
I know, man, but fuck. We're talking about we're talking about Festivus. We're talking about grievances, and the full circle thing we're trying to get to with all of our grievances is
"There's
where
the
can we?
gratitude of the situation."
There it is. So where is the gratitude in that reaction?
I look at my entire life as a great lesson in patience because I am very, in a lot
Fair.
of ways, in a lot of ways, I am a not patient person, but I
Okay.
am leaps and bounds more patient than I used to be.
Awesome. That's awesome
So,
for the old you, but your neighbor doesn't know the old you and
right.
doesn't know how far the steps that you've come, and so they're even less willing to give you that consideration. So
What's that Dr. Dre line? Something fuck around, turn me back into the old me. Uh,
yes, yes, I used that. I made a track and I sampled that actual line. It's from Forget About Dre,
yep.
Eminem and Dre. Y'all gonna keep fucking around with me and turn me back to the old me. That's the lyric. Cold
Yeah.
blooded. Uh, much respect to you. However, as someone who enjoys your company here in this space, let's refrain from that. At least
Yeah.
now. At least
I'm
now.
I'm still too pretty for prison, no matter how crusty and I
Oh
get.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But let's not let's not invite more stress into the already stressful situation you have in and around your household. So
You are being quite the voice of reason.
that's what
That
I'm here for, man. So I mean, let's. How do we do this? How can we plot to passive aggressively gift him a fuck you?
hmm.
I mean, do we
Well,
just random Amazon box it? Do you walk it over personally, ring his video doorbell, and go,
so I think
I can't control my dogs, but I can control what you hear?
so my thing is I would never invade his space uninvited like that
Well, no, fuck that.
because
Because
well, no,
go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
it's because I'm setting the president. I will not
Yes.
come onto your I do not come onto your property uninvited.
Principality.
It's right now I've built a fence that I am have to build another one because Ginger already ate it and made a big hole in it. But setting it up to where they can't get in between the two houses where the bark will echo because their bedroom is right there for some reason.
Yeah.
And then another thing they complain about is when Brittany goes into her office early in the morning and turns her light on. The light shines into their bedroom because their blinds are too thin.
I think we gotta start. So that right there.
I live in
Is
Arizona where there's so much sun, and I've never heard of blinds or shades.
is this their? Are they snowbirds?
No, no, they're here year round. I think this asshole works for
Hey man.
Florence Florence schools because that was his nice letter had a Florence school district envelope. I think
Oh man, he attached a letterhead to it.
he sure fucking did
How did you lose? How,
because knowing me and my I do have the ability to get too petty sometimes.
I'm here trying to help you add another dimension to your petty because there's a spectrum, right? There's a spectrum
Yeah.
in everything. So the kindness of your gesture, depending on who sees it and how we frame it, will not see it as a kind gesture. They'll see it simply as you striking back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would consider you striking back, you pushing him off of your property. So, like, that's assault, brother. I don't need for you to catch a case for this guy. He's not worth
Not
it.
if not if he's been warned several times.
No.
And
What?
I don't shoot him. I just
Tell him about your dog. You should tell him that story. Tell him that story, and
I'm not
tell
telling that story.
tell him that that's how you treated something that you love.
Oh,
How do you think
oh,
you're going to
oh
treat him?
man. Oh,
Yeah, bro.
that makes me sound like a big villain, though, dude.
Hey, dog. Hey,
Oh.
hey. This guy is Captain Petty. So you said that again. I'm trying to add. I'm trying to find a boundary. I'm trying to find a
Yeah,
fence. That's too much.
yeah, I don't think I'd bring that one up.
Okay,
That's sad.
because we're gonna get into that later, but not into the details of it, but the sentiment rings true whether you get into the details of it all. But
Yeah, I don't think I.
yeah, man. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to paint a
Oh
picture.
man.
I'm trying to paint the picture that he's not worth it. He's not worth it, and because you know what worth it is. That's fresh. So
Mhm.
don't let this guy fuck with the memory of your peace because that's part of your closure, and he's going to fuck that up. And like you said, you're vulnerable right now, so he's going to get a raw emotion that he doesn't deserve, that you would only reserve for someone who really wronged you, as opposed to just this neighbor who happens to be cantankerous.
It's a good word.
I love it. Love that word. But yeah, man, if you want me to go half on it, I will. If you want me to, I mean, if we should we buy him used headphones? Because they sell used headphones at the auction all of the time. So
Ooh.
I don't mind spending 20-30 bucks on a pair of used noise canceling headphones for he and his missus. I mean, we can run a Clorox wipe over him, bro. We're not like heartless, but just the idea that he doesn't need to get a pristine pair of noise canceling headphones, but just something to return serve. That's really it because he's serving you aces at this point because you're frustrated. So I don't think he's as frustrated. If I had to guess, he's probably good. He's like that kind of person that's like has road rage, and you know that that's
Mhm.
their whole day is their to A and B because they don't do shit on the other side of both. So it's like you can't give that person the time of day because it could turn into a road rage situation to where you don't come home. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
none of that, the escalation that would need to take place in order for that to make sense doesn't make. It's the math is ridiculous. So, um, and again, this guy's not worth it. He's not. You know that. So that's our homework for this week. for next week. Because what? So what? Are we recording next week? Next Wednesday,
What is next Wednesday?
28th.
Probably.
All right, then we'll be able to follow up. So that's our homework for the week. We're going to figure out how to do this. We'll frame it up, and then we'll talk about it live. And if Flex Chef, if anybody else wants to join us and to give their 2 cents, the 10 cents, their quarter, whatever, let us know how we can make this uh, content worthy. Because I want to share it. Because again, the best way to deal with passive aggressive people who operate under the privilege of privacy. You remove that veil for them, he's going to get a lot less loud. Just saying, man. So that's your situation. Um, my house, I've got a bunch of stuff wrong with my house. Like, you know, how stuff
Hmm.
goes wrong. I just had landscapers here this week, so they cleaned all that up. So thank you. Shout out to Alex, um, Salvador, the guys who helped me out this week. Uh, my my house is now curb worthy again.
Ooh, ooh.
And but yeah, like outside of that, um, we went into the end of this year with the intention of selling the house and renting it back, so we could take out the equity that we have for living here over a decade and use that money to pay off bills and um, have money set aside and continue to live in the neighborhood that my child and wife both go to the neighbor or to the local school 2 blocks away. Um, the feds decided to throw a giant anvil all over that, and they've raised the rates 5 times now this year. And what that means to normal capitalistic real estate investors and their agents is that it's a lot harder to sell houses than it was 6, 8, 12 months ago. And instead of them being creative and finding ways to um, make money, they are simply hoarding properties and just not being cooperative and just letting things go where they may. And so for myself and my situation, I can't just allow that. So I'm getting creative and I'm speaking on multiple fronts to multiple people in order to figure out how to get that to happen. And once it does, my situation, the Festivus next year is going to be much better if the thing that I planned on and should have had happen. But it didn't, and so now I'm still in the same boat, still going through the process, and it's really frustrating, man. It's really annoying to invest in a property at an age where your peers are out partying, to where they prioritize going out and repeating that cycle of work hard, play hard, right? And so we made the decision to work hard and still play less hard, but still actively. We threw a lot of parties. We had a lot of fun here, and the idea that we can now not benefit off of the equity that we're sitting on, it's just it's really frustrating, and it feels targeted. And based off of the stories that you hear with people and the 72 souls of the world, your experience with Open Door, you understand that the market is only to serve the market,
Hmm.
and all of the people that make up the market are simply assets. They're simply pieces that get thrown around an investor pool, and the same way that the market crashed in 2008, when things got bad, they just shuffled the pieces around. And now they can't do that because all of the properties were saturated in value, and
Hmm.
they just collected all these houses, and now they're sitting on all these properties and got to pay taxes on them. And they're like, well, that's not great. So they're going to eat the loss for the rest of the year, and then they're going to use that as a business expense. And then they're going to offload these properties within the first 6 months of next year. Like,
Well, that's the thing with that our old house is they took it off. It's on the market, but it's not like listed
yep,
because they're already realized they're taking real fat L's on it.
yep. And
And
there was nothing that they did specifically to cause the increase. It was simply the pandemic. And so since we never addressed the pandemic the way we should have, they simply benefited off of the chaos, which conglomerates tend to do, and so they're cool with the chaos because it allows them to control the market and to
Mhm.
be in the to have the most leverage. So all it takes, man, is the right investor to say, "Oh, those terms make sense. Let's just do it." So that way it's done. Because I'm just ready to be done with it, and I can't move forward until that happens. And again, this is the Festivus
Mhm.
episode, and my grievance with the market and the powers that be is my grievance with capitalism in general. That there is very little consideration. There's very little, um, just like working together for the sake of working together. Um, because I'm going to become an immediate renter that they don't have to surf. They don't have to search for. They don't have to vet. They don't have to do all these things. Like I'm here. I'm going to sell my house and then take a chunk of that money and then pay it up front for rent for a year. How does that not work in their favor? Especially so if my realtor would have done this 6 months ago, the value I'm paying in rent for that price would have been way more than what they can get right now.
Right.
So they missed out on getting more rent. I missed out on selling my house for a higher value. So we both lost because they didn't want to play ball. That's it. That's it. And so now the market has changed so much and so dynamically that they are not going to be the rates for the Feds is not going to be as low as it was again. What's going to drive that outside of another once in 100 year episode that we have every 5 years?
Well, I mean,
Oh my lord.
end of empire events, my friend. End of empire events.
No, not end of empire. It can't be end of empire when we have all of the evidence of empires. Like all of those empires didn't have the access we did to understand what went wrong and to change things. They didn't. They simply recycled the mistakes because what they do, you overcome an empire, and then what do? You burn all the evidence. You burn all their culture. You burn all their history. And so then you don't learn from their history, from their own mistakes, when they got how they got to the top, and then that circle of exploitation just rotates until it boils over, and then the population rises and democracy falls, or whatever that means. So we have the opportunity to change things. It's just like the pettiness that you convey with your neighbor. Instead of doing the thing that makes sense for our own longevity, we choose ourselves at every turn. At every turn. Because we can, there's no consequence, and we're only here for a short amount of time. Trifecta. So, buy him some headphones, man. I'm just gonna sell my
So,
point. I'm just gonna sell my point.
okay, that's fine. So, with you not being able to do your business plan, which made a whole lot of sense to me, it didn't fall through. What is the positive aspects of that that you can pull forward right now?
I mean, with every L, you learn. So it's
Right.
like I learned. I mean, it's another one of those things you take people at their face value. If something doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right for those reasons. And so this just checked into that same thing to where you understand that it's like telemarketing, man. There's a script, there's a process, there is a funnel, and they run it through its course, and it is outdated, and it only serves the people at the top. Now the agents are going to make more money based off of how quickly they can sell houses and how easy and the ease of use. Both of those things are out the window now. So you've got a whole bunch of part-time real estate agents on the block. What are they doing? What are they doing? Because the cream always rises, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are they rising to the occasion, or are they just complaining that the market's slow?
I think a lot of those folks are complaining that the market's slow.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, and then market condition. There's all kinds of shit that I don't know. so I can't really speak on that.
And all of it boils down to a spreadsheet that equals a margin that they want to stay at. That's the driving force behind how well they'll play ball, is if they can make enough money, because, like anything else, when a board of investors gets involved, the driving force behind any brand is no longer owning up to your mission of the brand. It is maximizing profits. So that's it. And there's no motivation for them to change, because all they have to do is wait for another bailout or wait for another something to happen to where it creates chaos that they can exploit and then make more money off of. So yeah, I've learned. I've learned I've learned those things, and I've learned that I've got more patience than I thought I did. I mean, the amount of frustration I had at the beginning of the process, because I was like, this makes sense, right? And then when you get a confirmation from them that yes, it makes sense, and then they reply with a but, I have to see what they say. And then you get those people in your house and you catch them on your video surveillance discussing the terms in order to undercut you with a guy who is not an investor, but he's there on behalf of another investor in case this doesn't go through. Yeah, so they're in my living room or in my entryway talking about undercutting me. So it's like, am I supposed to just smile and eat it? Am I just supposed to allow tens of thousands of dollars to go to this random person who I just met, who just does this thing that a whole lot of other people do? And they're not going to get creative on how we can meet, or simply tell me that what I'm offering doesn't make sense or isn't good enough, and then keep it moving. So I don't know. If I had friends who had it like that, I would reach out to them directly. I'd
Yep.
just be like, hey bro, buy my house. They say, huh? I say, yeah, buy my house. What do you mean? You want a rental property? Sure, but I don't have a house. I don't have any properties. You want a property? Very simple. It's very
Well, I
simple.
mean, since me and Buda Baker are so tight, maybe I can just hit him up.
Oh, I hit the wrong button and it was the right sound. So
Hey, that works.
yeah, no, man. Like I've got a network of people that have some funds, but it's just about like, how would you like to be approached if you had it like that? How should I DM you on Instagram and say, hey, I've got an idea?
I think that'd be worth a call.
Oh yeah, 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 no doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt,
Yeah.
no
No,
doubt.
just hit him up and be like, hey, if you have time, um, I have a business question that you may be interested in, or maybe able to point me in a direction of somewhere that can of someone
Right.
that would be able to help me with it,
Yeah.
and then lay out your elevator pitch about it.
I mean, I just laid it out to you.
Yeah, and
So
if I had it, that makes fucking sense.
yeah, because what you're looking at, right? I'm below market and paying $30,000 in rent for a year. So they're making money right off top. I will have money to be able to take care of the house on my own. So that won't be a property management expense on their end.
Hmm.
And after the year's up, we can either decide to extend it or go elsewhere. And then they can resell it. And they bought it at a lower rate. So at the very least, they'll break even and then just make $30,000.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. Like you talk about, there's always like crypto and there's all these things that you can invest in, but how it makes money you don't really know. This is pretty straightforward. Rent's pretty straightforward. Rent is very straightforward. So, but yeah, man. I learned that my network isn't strong, and you understand that, and at every single turn, I still feel gratitude that I'm not on the street, that I'm not that I have gotten some kind of assistance up to this point, even though it wasn't what I was promised, and even though it was taken from me at the last second. Like the how matters a lot less than the what, because the what is I still got some help. The what is I'm still motivated to work. I'm still motivated to not be a person that just relies on the government. Um, yeah, man. So like it's frustrating as hell, but I'm hopeful that things will turn around and that I'll get the offer that I need. We'll sign the paperwork, check will get written. They'll get 30 grand right up front. I'll be able to take care of all my past due debt. Um, and then my family will be able to continue with our lifestyle as we are. And nothing will change because it's literally just the passing of ownership. So we shall see. We shall see.
I believe in you. I believe in you, Peter Pan.
Thank you, sir.
We
Appreciate
watched
that.
Hook the other day. Sorry.
No, it's all good. All
Oh
right.
man.
Festivus 3.
So
Where are we going next?
grandpas.
Grandpa's.
Yeah. So during the initial house shit, the buying and selling,
Uh,
um, my father's father, my grandpa Larry, died, and so I had to go back to Illinois for a week. And then when I got back home, back to Arizona, we got everything moved in over here. Shout out to Buy to Buy for helping me move my crap into my house. Um, I get a call from my mom's sister. Hey, your grandpa Impy's dying. So when I try and get a hold of him, it was already too late, and they're just waiting for his heart to stop, pretty much. So it was a matter of like a week. I had both of my grandpas die.
yeah, it
So
was
that was
quick.
yeah, it was wild, just wild. And what was real crazy was I was super close with my grandpa Howard, and I was estranged from Grandpa Impy, but it's different because I had all these crazy good memories with both of them. Um, but I talked to Grandpa Howard more, and then like I had like the regret that I didn't talk to Grandpa Impy enough, but I understood that he understood why I didn't. Yeah,
That follows. Yeah.
but then I mean this was gonna be pretty quick. I mean that because it sucked a lot, but I call Grandma at least every other week, Grandma Howard every other week.
Good.
Um, um, I call my Grandpa Impy's wife, Joan, at least once a month or so, just to check in, or we text. I send her pictures of the kids or whatever.
Hmm.
And then my grandma Judy, who was Grandpa Impy's first wife, the mother of my mom and her sister, you know, I call her every so often because she is busy being a proper lady that does crafts all the time. And as much as she loves to talk to you, she doesn't need you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I respect her and her awesome retirement she has with her husband Mike.
Nice.
And it's not because I don't love her or whatever like everybody else, but I know that she doesn't need but it's I understand that she doesn't need me
Yeah.
bugging her
Yeah.
every week kind of thing. So
Yeah.
we chill.
Yeah.
In fact, she sent us a box of meat, Omaha steaks for Christmas. Oh, sweet. And I get a text. Did you get that? Yes, I did. Thanks.
Very nice.
All right, you're welcome. I love you. I love you too.
Uh, well, I didn't
But so
lose anybody personally, like that isn't here. I just lost a lot of people, like a lot of people. And it got less and less surprising. Like every time it happened, I was like, okay, there's a pattern here. Because I don't know. I feel like I'm somebody who's pretty open minded. Uh, I like to think that as much shit as I'll give somebody, it's only to like balance the the egregiousness of their error in their ways. You know what I mean? Just to kind of throw it
Yeah.
off. But it's never from a place of judgment. It's always kind of like, okay, you fucked up. Okay, cool. Let's talk about a solution or solutions, right?
Yeah.
And almost all of the people that are no longer in my life, I could not rely on them for that if I needed it. And that was always the common denominator. It was like, so in talking about losing people, the dancer, Twitch, he just passed. He took his life last week, and or was it last week? Was it the beginning of this week? I don't know. It's
It was last week
yeah,
before. So it was
Saturday, Sunday, something like that.
well, it was. I thought it was that Wednesday because we were getting ready to
Oh
record.
yeah, it was, and I didn't talk about it. That's right. It's already been a week.
Yeah.
God damn. But yeah, and so like he took his own life, and the way in which he did it is similar to how I lost one of my friends when I was younger. And so like when that happened, when I got the alert, it was from another dancer who goes by Fiction. They're both alums of So You Think You Can Dance, and my dad's
Hmm.
huge fan of that show. We've talked about it at length, and he he stood out. I remember him. I've known about him for several years. Saw him pretty early on in his journey, and then he got on with Ellen as her DJ, and just his his brand awareness skyrocketed. And then he and his wife met on the show on So You Think You Can Dance. They and they have a huge following, and they do dances on TikTok, and people love it. And so on the outside looking in, everything looked great. Um, I lost a friend of mine. Uh, the years all kind of clumped together at this point, but my friend, I was friend with a pair of twins. I was friends with a pair of twins, and one of the twins was friends with our friend Jeremy, and they became like brothers. And Jeremy had like a Fast and Furious style car. This is right around that time, and our mutual friend took that car out with another one of our friends to go to the gas station. They never came back, and so he passed. Both of our friends passed, um, and our friend Jeremy had a really tough time with it because not only did he lose both of his friends and his brother from another mother, but he also lost his Fast and the Furious car. Which, if you know anybody who's into Fast and Furious cars, bro, they treat those things like children,
Right.
living people. So that was another huge loss for him, and that's a big part of those people' identities too. And that was the Jeremy situation. Time passed, and then it was homecoming weekend, and I was DJing at the college bar, hundreds of people, crazy scene, and Jeremy comes in, and so it's a great scene. I'm busy, I'm working, and I look over and it's Jeremy. I'm just like, and I just stopped, and I made sure I had enough time, got my next song queued up, and I was like, yo, dapped him up. We talked briefly, and so I think several songs in between the course of several songs, we were talking, and I really could have cared less about making sure the night was as great in terms of a performance because I was talking to my guy, and I don't
Yeah.
get to see him very often. He was kind of a recluse, so like he didn't need to be out all the time, and he was very introverted, and he was dating one of my friends at the time, and he I remember bits and pieces of the conversation, but he was in good spirits and we shared a few laughs. And he was like, I wanted to ask you, man. He goes, what do you think of Melissa? And I was like, what about her? I was like, you guys are talking, right? He's like, yeah, man. I don't know. Da, 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 da. Just basically talking about his previous experience in relationships. And I said, well, I can tell you this, man. I love you. I was like, Melissa's dope. I was like, and the fact that you two are together makes me feel good. So like I was like, I'm happy for you. And he had one of those smiles that you don't forget. And he gave me a big smile, dapped me up, and was like, "See you later, Harvey." And that was the last time I saw him. And the next morning, they did like a bar crawl up and down the main strip, and one of our mutual friends, his name is Josh. He was a baseman for the cheerleading squad at ISU, and he sees me and he's like, "Oh, what's up, Harvey? Blah blah blah. Crazy last night." Da, 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 da. He goes, "Did you hear about Jeremy?" And I was like, "No, but I saw him." "What do you mean?" He's like, "What do you mean you saw him?" I was like, "He was at the Valley last night." He's like, "Really?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I just saw Dana, and Dana told me that he got the call last night." And I said, "What call, man?" And so Dana is another one of our friends who was an EMT. And so he got the call, and he got to see our friend in that state. And yeah, man, it was just it brought up all a flood of emotions of that. Um, the feeling of that loss, the other people that it impacted that still share his memory on Facebook, once a year and all of that. And um, it's another one of those things to where your strong silent friends, you've got to check on them, because on the outside people can look like they've got it all together, and they can tell you they've got it all together, and then they're just not here in an instant, and you don't know why. And yeah, man, it was just tough to hear how he went and knowing who he was, because I would talk to him, I would talk about Twitch the same way I would about my friend Jeremy. So yeah, it's just it was tough to see that, but then to see the outpouring of people who have been left with a great impression of him because of how he touched their career, their lives, whatever. And there was so many people, and so yeah, it's just we're talking about the gratitude. Like, you understand that on the other side of that morning is a reflection of how they impacted your life. And so yeah, man, just I wanted to speak on that last week. The way that the conversation went and that with our guest was fantastic. So it didn't really seem fit, but um, I don't know how. It's not really a grievance. It's just it's kind of just like, it sucks to see a light like that go.
Yeah. Well, it's my son is named after two of my friends that aren't here no more anymore. So I mean, it's always weird to see someone go in a similar way, and I will always bring that up.
Mm.
And it's just random things will bring it up too, and you're just like, oh, because it's. I mean, it's so weird. I think one of the things that we have to learn about people that are suicidal for real, there's a difference.
Yeah,
Like when people are suicidal for real, is there's not a goddamn thing that you could have done, you know, and you always have that shoulda, woulda, coulda, but like even if you were in the same house, they would have figured it out. You know what I mean? Like they'd have figured something out. If they were trying to go that day, that's when they would have gone.
yeah.
And
I don't think I ever got to that point though. I didn't ever. With people like that, because he's not the only one. Um,
yeah,
my I lost another friend who was friends with my older brother, and he's a wild and crazy dude. There's some stories behind him, but uh, he, I was a cart gatherer at Kroger, and we did bag groceries, did a little stocking, but mainly did grunt work. And he came in one night and was like, "Hey, where's your brother at?" And you could tell he was not sober. And I was like, "Oh man, I don't know. He's probably working or hit up his fiance, blah blah blah." And found out 4 hours later that he went down a normal neighborhood street going 70 miles an hour, flipped his convertible, slid it 500 feet, no longer here. So it's like, that guy, it wasn't like, what could I have done different? If he wanted to
right.
go, he was going to go. So I understand what you say when you mean when you say that.
Yeah, well, there's well, I like there was people that put themselves in unintentional suicide situations,
Hmm.
but I'm talking about the people that are like, nah, I'm done being here.
It's quicksand.
Yeah.
It's quicksand, and they don't see a way out.
Well, I got so goddamn lucky with my suicide attempt. So lucky, and then like the cops didn't beat me to death and or shoot me too. Shout out to the Victoria County Sheriff's Department. Like,
Oh Lord, have mercy. Yeah, yeah, man.
I mean, but like, fuck, man, it's suicide's so fucking wild, and it hurts, but it doesn't hurt like the amount of pain someone's got to be in to call their own number, man, and then realizing that no matter what you could have done, they would have done it anyway.
Hmm.
It's so weird. It's
Well, it reminds me of like you arrive and you leave this earth solo, right? So many times you understand that people don't want to be a burden, and so they look at themselves and the lack of success they've had personally or just their own fulfillment as a failure. And so, you know, they they don't see in terms of potential. Potential works both ways, right? So it's like
mm-hmm,
if you see somebody who you thought had it all or you thought was in a decent spot, like it makes you think they don't think it could have got worse. Like where they were at was the bottom of the bottom.
mm-hmm,
Cuz I mean, I've had thoughts, but I've never put myself in a position to where I would do it or even consider doing it because it's like it's simply a process. It's a thought process, right? You have this thought because it's a visceral reaction. And then you break
mm-hmm,
that down and you make it make sense. My brain said this because of this, right? And so the idea that the potential on their end to get better is outweighed by it potentially getting worse. Because if you end it, it's done, right? There's no worse, is there? If you're not here anymore, you can't. It can't be any worse.
yeah,
So it's kind of an oxymoron of sorts, I guess. But the pain that you inflict on the people that you leave behind is the is where the lack of consequence, I think, actually is intriguing to people, like you said, who are just going to do it if they're going to do it. Because if you end it, everything stops.
mm-hmm.
Your pain, your mind, the pressure, all of those things. So you look at the way people treated the pandemic. They chose themselves at the expense of other people. That's how suicide works. Same thing. You put yourself in a position to not be helped because you don't think you need it, or you're just willing to end it if things don't go your way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough, man. It is. It's I don't know. I don't know. I think I've mentioned on this show before that I have plans to. I have made amends in my mind that I will leave this place on my own terms if I'm unable to if I feel like I'm a burden on people later in life. Hot hospice doesn't live on my mind. Senior living facilities, that's not on my table for me.
Well, I've told my youngest brother and I are 8 years apart, and I've told him since he was a young man. If it gets to the point where I can't like use a bathroom, you come over.
Okay.
'Cause- and then he, it's. I'm not joking with you. I've made that very clear.
Yeah.
This is not a joke.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't. This is before obviously I was married and stuff. I was like, I don't care who I'm married to or where I'm
Mhm.
living or what's going on. Here's the deal. And I've told Brittany that too, and I was like, no. If all of a sudden Jared shows up and we're old, you got to understand and get out of his way. Man, the man has
Dang.
the man has a job to do,
Let him do it.
and he will be compensated as such.
Yeah. What's funny though, because I have plans. This is let's just put the number out there. 30 years from now, it's a long time, right?
Mhm.
I don't. It's not a anytime close thing, but like the idea that I plan to do that and then have a celebration of life that's uplifting. Like it's not gonna be somber. It's not gonna be like I'm going to plan a shindig for my exit.
Yeah.
Because I want people to remember me like that because that's how many people know me or knew me. So,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, I plan on going out on my own terms. I've had this conversation with my wife. I plan to have it with my kids. But like, I don't want to burden them. I want to be able to pass along the fruit of my labor and go go into the light. Like, I don't want it to be a big deal. I don't. So
Yeah, I can get behind that too. Like, I never thought I'd live past like 25.
really,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, because I lived long, fast, hard, candle both ends and in the middle for a long time.
Yeah,
And like, yeah, and then in June I'll be 35 and looking back and I'm like, what the hell? That's like a whole decade over when you were thought you were going to be done.
hmm
you know, um, I had a conversation when I was back home for Grandpa Howard's funeral with my young cousin,
hmm
who's 17, and he's grown up real Christian conservative, and he's about to go off to college and figure out life because it's going to come at him.
yeah,
And I said, look, you're going to have a whole world open to you, and it's going to blow your mind. It's not my place to tell you what that is because you're going to figure it out. Because you're going to be a grown man here soon that's going to have to make grown man decisions.
yeah,
And I said, look, there's all kinds of cool and fun and exciting things that you can do that you were never allowed to do and probably shouldn't do. You know what I mean? But so I need you to know I lived real hard and fast, and I'm not telling you I regret any of it, but I will tell you that I've probably taken off a bunch of years at the end of my life that I'd be able to enjoy with my kids and my grandkids.
yep,
Like, I need you like everything you do has a consequence to it, and I know for a fact that I probably won't be a very old man. I hope that gets through to you, but go and make your own mistakes as a person, but
yeah.
just
So,
call me
in
first, I guess.
so, uh, do you think that you've lived a life harder and faster than Keith Richards?
No,
Okay,
no.
I just
But the
want
thing is, so
expectations.
there are some people that have like they're like genetically predispositioned to do drugs better, for real, you know.
Yeah.
And I can't remember where this was an interview. It was years and years ago now, and they were asking him about like, are you worried about overdosing? And he said no. And they said why? And he goes, I'm rich. I buy real drugs.
Oof.
But that
No,
also
no,
makes
no
sense.
doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, like what's your shit cut with? The shit, like there's no other nothing else in here but my
There's truth to that, no doubt.
yeah, and then it's like, well, yeah, and then because they're not cutting cocaine with just baby laxative anymore.
Oh
like
boy.
fentanyl overdoses are a real goddamn thing because it's cheap and fucks folks up.
It does what it's
So
supposed to do.
it until it does too much of it.
No, that just means you can't handle it. There's a difference.
You can't handle your fentanyl pussy.
No, no, that's no judgment on or disrespect on my end. But that's just
No,
like,
that was just the first thing that my mind went
yeah.
to. Oh, you can't do your cancer pain medicine? What a wimp!
Oh man.
Put on your skirt, Steven.
No,
Or
it's
should I
it's
call you Samantha?
well, the idea that you're ingesting it, or that it's being absorbed by your body in one way or another, um, knowing that it's a toxin, just straight up, like it's it's a faulty premise. So no matter how you approach it, it's always going to be detrimental. So like if you can operate from that premise, the odds of you doing too much are very low because it doesn't make sense. I I've drank way too much than I've needed to on several occasions. There are some that make it to the top of the list, but every time when that was the case, I never tried to do it to go overboard. I just went overboard, right? I had too much fun, drank too little water. Combination of the two things. And but I've never been like, put me up, keg stand, boom, do it again, boom. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be the most talked about person in any space. So it's like there's never been an incentive to me. And then when it comes to cannabis, it's the same thing. It's like, why do I want to get paranoid high? Why do I want to get so messed up that it takes away from the experience? There's I I'm in there's very little incentive. So can't do it. No thanks.
I could.
I guess.
I, that was me, dude. My life was, let's see what excess is,
So
and see if
you're talking about the suicide and how if you wanted to you were going to. There was nobody who was going to stop you.
mhm.
When did that start? Is that just a competitive nature thing that you thought you could parlay into drinking, or was the abuse of the substance?
Oh, being drunk all the time probably didn't help. Like, let's just throw that out there.
Okay. So
But
did you always have like I'm indestructible mindset?
for a long time, and that
Okay.
happened. That happened at 19.
So your first time drinking, you thought you were
No,
indestructible.
no. Like, I felt like we always had those young dumb.
Nah, bro. The first time I got
Like,
locked up, I was like, I'm not prepared for this.
no, I'm talking about just like in general. Like you're young and like I'll recover, I'll be fine. Like,
No,
you've
no.
never had young man thoughts like that. Like
Sure, sure.
that's what I mean.
When I twisted my ankle
Yeah.
for the sixth time, and it
Yeah.
was the doctor who said, "You know what? You want to just break it because it'll heal back correctly if you do that. If you keep going like this, it'll just be chronic injury. Guess who has a chronic injury?
Nice.
Hey. But yeah, so I get the
So no,
ego, I get the
no.
hard headedness, but
The first time I drank was not like that, but I will say, like, when I got back from Iraq the first time at 19, and then we
okay,
were,
unpack that.
well, okay. So listen. So when we got back from Iraq the first time when I was 19, we were the first infantry unit in OIF, like Operation Iraqi Freedom, to
Okay.
come back 100% no combat casualties at all. That means no wounded, no dead. We all came back with just our memories.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm young. I'll live for fucking ever. And I rode that for a long, long time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. So you came back from Iraq after surviving Operation Iraqi Freedom, and now all you have to contend with is bouncers.
Yeah, and see, it wasn't. It was the whole. It wasn't. It was everybody. Everybody came back, and we're like, God, we are shit hot. We're
Got
the
you.
best. We're the best war fighters to ever exist in the history of war. Our penises are huge.
Golly.
Like,
Yeah, that's it. That'll do it.
and there was. We were cocky. Still are kind of.
Sure. But
But
so when do you remember when? Because you drank. Did you? How much did you drink over there?
none. Not the first time, nothing.
Nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Is that normal?
Yeah, the first time, the first. It's supposed to be,
That,
but yeah.
that feels exceptional. That feels
Well,
like
because
you
there's
around.
people that get secret secret things shipped to them from in their care packages,
Oh, come on, bro. You don't.
and if
You don't.
and if you don't and if you get in real tight with the not too good Muslim Iraqis that knew where they get the illegal hooch shipped in,
So
that kind of thing.
the idea that people weren't drinking is absurd. So we know that people were drinking. I'm asking, were you encouraged and enabled to do so as well?
No.
You weren't.
Mm-mm.
Okay. That says a lot about your whole troop making it home, man.
Well, it's no. I'm not saying like everybody was fucked up. I'm saying like you had to actively search for it, kind of thing, and not everybody was actively searching for it. So like, don't let me like paint everybody as a bunch of like raging drunks
No,
over
no, no. I'm
it.
telling you, I'm not someone who would enlist. But had I been over there, I'm drinking.
Mm-hmm.
19, fighting for the country, I'm drinking. Not like to excess, not like again, not to be a legend, to take the edge off at the least. At least.
I don't know, man. That kebab meat was pretty goddamn good. So I mean, that was good
Cuz
enough for me.
I drank at weddings because it's what everybody does, right? But you do it in moderation, you do it in a controlled environment to where I'm not driving, whatever that means to where it cuz we play ourselves pretending like kids aren't doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more you lean toward not at all, the more they lean the opposite direction, right? It's
Right.
a tried and true process. So, and then throw the military in there, man. And all you have to do is the military. Like you don't have to do that and school. You don't have to do that and work at McDonald's part time. Like it's just that's just it. Yeah, there's a way you can figure out how to do that smartly.
When I was back stateside, we were like whenever we were off work, most of us were just housed all the
But that's
time.
the thing. Why? If if you so okay. So
A
was
lot of that had to do with culture.
okay.
It was because like it's Marine Corps culture.
So how much were you celebrated coming home
By
post
who?
Iraqi freedom? Your local Americans.
I mean, like
Like
friends and family
when you went to
were
the
allowed
bar,
to.
did they know you were military guys and they took care of you so you paid a lot less?
Oh, I didn't. So I didn't go to bars until I was like 20.
Okay, but before that you were still partaking and so
Yeah, no, but it was if I was going somewhere and drinking, it was with people I knew anyway
yeah,
that
yeah.
were excited I was there.
Sure.
So I mean, when I went back to Illinois, that was fun. That's as far as I'll get into that.
That
Fucking
was fun. Hard stop.
young, young, athletic, Marine.
Sure.
Just got back from Iraq. Shit. You go back to my hometown. Some of those girls were like, "Oh my god."
Local union pipe layers. Like understood. Oh boy.
I think the best time I went home was for my best friend's wedding. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, let's not get you in trouble. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
No, but I'll say so. I am grateful for the times that I had with my grandfathers. Let's come back there. They all taught me things. Whether intentionally or not, they taught me how to be a better man. And for that, I am deeply grateful that I got to know them both while they were here on this plane of existence.
Nice. Good man. That's dope.
We got to talk about the scam.
Oh boy. R2D2. All right. So Festivus, round 3. Um, has it gotten worse? Have your grievances over the last 3 years increased?
I think they become different.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you been able to adapt and endure them better because of the prior years?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, I was sent an email first week of November, and it was a job offer. And so I have been putting myself out there to just take on freelance work to just fill up my cup, essentially. And I got this opportunity out of nowhere, followed through with it, got a response, and it was great. And so, naturally, I start poking holes, and everything's lining up. And then part of the job description was a professional setup. And what they requested was you send them um, a piece of gear for them to upload their proprietary software on because you're working for, it would have been a full time employment. It's not a freelance opportunity. So and that felt unusual. However, I went to school, and at the school they provided a laptop, and on that laptop you could only do certain things, and that was because they set it up appropriately so that way you could do what you needed to do for your schoolwork, for your coursework, for all the projects you needed, and the internet, all that stuff. But then there were boundaries set up to it, and there were theft things put onto it, and that was one of the things that they mentioned was that they were going to install a device um, to make sure it's proprietary, and they're going to give me, they'll reimburse me, blah blah blah. Long story short, turned out to be a scam, and I made certain moves to kind of protect myself. Obviously, I got the gear protected, and I uh, sent an air tag um, with the second package when just as a last ditch effort, um, because of the way things were going. And then as soon as the package arrived, man, pow, communication ceased. Um, Phone numbers stopped working. Like, it was quite the ruse. And I wound up reaching out to the organization that uh, was responsible for funding part of the check, the money that was sent to me fraudulently. And they told me after speaking to the CFO that they had a few different transactions of the exact same amount at the same time. So I wasn't the only one that fell for it because there's a lot of people. The market for editors, for um, freelance producers, and direction is pretty super saturated right now. So there's a lot of people in that boat. So I wasn't the only one to fall victim to it, unsurprisingly. But yeah, the AirTag, as of a couple of days ago, has been and sitting still in the same spot in Nigeria. So yeah, it's officially a scam. And yeah, man, it is a shitty situation to be a part of. And it makes me think of, like the Nigerian prince to where it's like an obvious scam.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, it was an opportunity. It wasn't like I'm trying to come up on a quick cash. Like, I was literally invested in trying to further my career and all this stuff. So I got emotionally invested because of that, and so it hurt. It sucks, man. Got to swallow my pride, and but I don't even have to like pretend or like to try and find the gratitude because it made me put my foot down even harder into pursuing what I want to do in the first place. So like, um, yeah, man, my gratitude comes in the way that it's forced me to shape this show, to work on just like the scenes, the backgrounds, to tighten up what I already do, so that way when I get the offering that I sought fraudulently, I'll be over prepared for it. So it sucks. Take it on the chin. Hold that L up for a while, learn a lesson from it, and turn into a giant W. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Like, I was fucking pumped for you too, because like But I remember being like, hey,
Oh,
is this legit? And you're like, dude, everything I've looked into.
bro, you so as pumped as you were, I was at least 3x that, right?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, because you were the one about to get paid with a bunch of new shit. Like,
Shit, bro.
obviously.
Yeah. And it honestly, dude, it wasn't even like the package. It was the opportunity. It
Hmm.
was putting myself in a position to be noticed, to be compensated for my work. Like as a creative, you can't ask for anything more. So I was more disappointed not in the funds I have to recover, not in the ego embarrassment, not in any of that stuff, man. It was the opportunity. It was the not having the job. And so like and it hits me the same way in smaller pieces when I have a potential job for buy to buy that falls through.
Hmm.
Or like the relationship that failed with or that fell through with my previous partner. Um, that was just the market. That was how COVID hit me without hitting me. So and that forced me to double down and to reshape how I offered how I framed my offering, and the response has been great. And so the relationships that I've formed since then and moving forward have been nothing but good. So it felt the same way, just on a much bigger scale, because of the compensation, because of the opportunity, because of the gear, because it's you don't work a day if you love what you do. Complete bullshit.
Hmm.
I was gonna work my fucking ass off, and I was looking forward to that workload. But yeah, man, it's like it just sucks. So I'll take it. I'll take it for what it is. I'll rank it where it belongs, and I'll use it as fuel for the next thing. So that's where my gratitude comes from it.
About it.
So that was quick. I thought it was gonna go a lot longer than that.
Yeah. Hey, but it went.
But I've had time to process it. Like it's not as raw anymore because enough
Yeah.
time has gone by, because I've spoken to the proper authorities. I've spoken with the companies involved, and so and they have all been receptive and appreciative of me trying to be proactive in not allowing it to happen to other people, because I'm prepared to make a video, to make a testimonial essentially of my experience, for the sake of other people seeing the same thing, because the representatives for the company who they impersonated, those are real people, and their real accounts had been compromised, and so their real connections were in jeopardy. So like I'm not the only one who who has collateral damage from this. So like that affects the reputation um, of those businesses. And no offense to them or the people involved, but I felt salty toward them not being more proactive in trying to help me, because I centered myself in it and because it was so raw. But yeah, man, they're random people who are recruiters or whatever, and they're just like, and I hit them up with, oh hey, by the way, they used your credentials and blah 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 blah. So yeah, I've got to
Yeah.
go through the motions. I got to research now. I'm gonna learn what the process is of getting a new social security number, because I'll probably definitely have to do that. And like I think was it last year, last Festivus, I got scammed through Robinhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, par for the course, man. The digital
Mhm.
age, people are gonna find a way to take advantage of you. So you either roll with the punches, or you let the hits do damage, and it doesn't feel that bad, man. It feels like capitalism. It feels like people exploiting a system, and I'm a good natured person who caught a stray. So it is what it is.
Is what it is. But I'm glad you weren't like, I took out a second mortgage and bought like the half the company.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know,
No, no,
you
no, no.
know.
No, the investment was it was startup money.
Hmm.
It was like what you do if you buy something for work. That's
Hmm.
it. That's all that it is. So, and that's all that I'm going to compartmentalize it as, because I wasn't going to try to use any of it for ulterior motives. Like, I wasn't trying to come up off of the opportunity. the gratitude. It's the opportunities I'm so thankful for. Every time someone sends me work, every time a referral hits me up out of the blue, it's like people say my name in good way, in a good way, and there's nothing people can take away from that. So me being able to apply myself creatively and put a stamp on something, it speaks in the same fashion. And so I was looking forward to the opportunity to showcase that and to learn and to grow, and that's gone now. So just roller coaster, start the next incline. So
That's how it goes.
that's where I'm at.
Chocolate and vanilla swirl.
I got scammed. Oh, so hard.
Man.
So hard. Oh, I've not told my dad yet either. I've not
Oh
told
yeah.
him. I've not told him because he had his birthday the first week of December and he was out. I was busy, other things, again with the house. There's other craziness going on. And so, my youngest daughter got COVID. So it was like, there's things all over the place that superseded that situation. So but yeah, it's and hearing everybody's like everybody else's side for everyone else I did tell because I had to
Mhm.
borrow some money. I had to borrow some money and to pay those people back. And so it's like it didn't delay me being able to pay them back, but it was just the fact that they gave me money for an opportunity and I had to call them and tell them, "Hey, thanks for it," but it turned out to be fake. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, so yes, man, it is. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Well, I mean,
Say it.
wiser,
Say it.
older and wiser.
I
That's all I was gonna
mean,
say. That's
I'm
it.
getting older one way or the other. 40 is creeping up fast. So,
Yeah, but like you're getting wiser. You're not gonna fall for that one again. You know.
yeah. Yeah, I
There.
won't fall for that one, specifically that one again. And the funny thing is I've gotten more scam emails from it, but they're like way easier to spot. But like
Yeah.
my spidey sense is heightened right now. So like one person like they spelled consulting wrong in like the actual email address. How far has your business gone and you spelled consulting wrong and you're a
Right.
consulting firm?
Right. Well, it's I when I was working for they're called Flow, but it's spelled FLEAUX because they're from Louisiana. When I was doing delivery driver stuff,
Okay.
and one day I was on my way to work and I get a call from this is the IRS. Please
Oh,
call us back at the. So I call him back and I'm like, what the hell do you want? You know, hello, sir. And it was obviously somewhere in like Bombay or something out in
right.
India, and and I'm thinking, oh shit, these people know you know stuff, and I did owe a tax bill, so I was like, oh fuck, okay,
Yep.
and they're like, well, we need you to go do this, and then they were like, but we need you to go uh, get us gift cards or send us a money order, and I went,
The
no,
government?
yeah, um,
Whoops.
no. So I was like, yeah, right, have a good day. And so they blew me up and they blew me up and they blew me up. And I don't know how it worked, but they had something where they cloned 911.
Oh,
And so 911 called me with sirens.
dang.
It was wild. So I called like just the local PD. And I was like, does 911 ever make out calls? And they're like, no. I was like, I'm just making sure that I'm not going crazy.
Right.
And they go, well, what happened? I said, oh, someone was calling to say I owed them a tax bill. And they, that's a pretty big scam going around here. I was like, that's what I figured it was. Thanks for the information.
Yep.
But yeah, that's as close as I got to getting.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with
I,
Robinhood, that just they alerted me that it had already happened. So
mm-hmm.
they got my information somewhere else and made it work.
It sucks that you didn't get to keep whatever they
Man.
had invested in, though.
Yeah, whatever that was, vaporized for sure. for sure.
So, oh man, you might want to like. I mean, because I know you're already in the process of getting everything switched and stuff, right? Or no?
What do you mean?
Well, like, did you call the Social Security office and be like,
Oh no
"Hey,
no 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 no! I was waiting until I got my taxes back, and that
okay,
happened. So now I can do that. So, but I'm sure they have much more priority, higher priority than that. But I'm going to do my research online first, so I can talk to someone who knows what I need to do.
yeah," because I mean, it sounds like, especially since like someone opened a Robinhood with all of your information, it's probably a data breach somewhere that someone jacked all your shit.
No, no, no. I
So
mean, I've gotten several emails. AOL, Yahoo. There have been several channels that have been breached, and so your information just makes it out into the black market somewhere until someone brave enough does something with it. So,
yeah,
yeah, man, it's one of those things. But just the fact that I sent out a W-9 with my social security number on it because it was legit in my eyes at that point. So again, the investment on my end came after I had sent all that stuff in. So I was already like they gave me a motherfucking employee number and like it was beyond the point. So I'm just like, really, all that just for that? Like, so anyway, yeah,
just wild.
craziness, dude, craziness.
Well,
So
I guess I have one more grievance.
yes, what is your last grievance of the evening?
Um, I had to say goodbye to my best friend of almost 13 years this last Saturday. Um, I've had a dog since almost since I got on the Marines, and I bought a Basset Hound puppy, shithoused at the Puppies and More. It used to be at the Chandler Mall, and that dog had literally been with me through every fucking thing, like coke binges and day long benders, week long benders, and then multiple moves. Drove all over the United States with her. Um, Watched me get sober, move back out to Arizona, have all my kids, get married and everything. Got to meet the baby, and we had to have go hamburger day, which hamburger day was always going to be her last day, and take one last walk out in the desert before saying goodbye for the last time. And that sucked. Still sucks. I haven't really sat down to process it. But
Is this the first time you've done it?
I mean, we've had dogs like growing up that when it was time for them to go, it was time for them to go. But this is the first time that my pet. No, 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 that's not true. Um,
I'm not trying to rip
no,
off any band-aids. I'm just you felt when
no,
you
but
when you spoke about this to me the first time, you exuded a level of confidence that gave me the impression that it wasn't your first time.
no.
Okay.
Well, how Cleo's last day was the first time,
Okay.
but I've had dogs that have had to be put down before.
Sure. Okay.
But and then Flash One.
I like how you referred to it as one.
Well, because I have Flash Junior out in the backyard right now,
Yeah.
behaving himself.
Yeah.
But no, Cleo got real bad. She had the fatty lipomas and stuff like that, and then out of nowhere, she just grew a huge, obviously cancerous tumor on the back of her head, and then I was feeding her people food on top of, you know, dog food too, because
Yeah.
she kept just getting skinnier and skinnier. And there was the day she woke up and couldn't move her legs, you know, and then she was just having down in her back, down in her hips, old dog, old basset hound stuff.
Mhm.
On top of obviously something was eating her from the inside too, and also growing out of the back of her head. It was the fucking damnedest thing I've ever seen. So we went on. You ever seen that old Looney Tunes commercial, cartoon, where like it's the old dog and it's, "Come on, boy, let's go hunting."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
So I I spoke with my wife about this um, prior to, but after our conversation, when you spoke on what your plans were, and I used the term "old yeller,"
mm-hmm.
and so which is a verb of sorts because you just use it as a term to refer to your last walk, as you did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her that, and she said, "I've never seen that movie."
Ooh.
Okay. So that reference doesn't work. So then I explained to her the movie Old Yeller, and she goes, "Oh no." And obviously I didn't laugh when she said it,
Mm-hmm.
but she said it. She goes, and the mood, like, just, and I killed the fucking vibe. And she was just like, she was, "Oh no." And I'm like, "Yeah." And I explained his circumstance, and as you just did. And so she understood, but she was still just like, she was just like, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah, like, there's a way about it, way about doing it." And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she was taken aback by it, but I
Which is
had,
understandable.
yeah. And
Like,
so anything like that is jarring, man. Anything like that. I mean, I just talked about earlier, I talked about doing it myself. So, like, uh, and my experience with other people having done it to themselves. So, there is a bruteness to it that's unavoidable. But, again, it's an end of life situation. So, there's not supposed to be roses. It's
yeah,
not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be something that is fucking cartoonish.
right. And it's like, I'm not gonna just let her suffer to death either.
That's the most important
You know?
thing is the why.
Yeah.
The why
Like,
isn't the burden. The why is a very low quality of life. For
and it was,
what was the life expectancy outside of that? And was it more painful?
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in terms of servitude, because that's what a pet's relationship is, right? It is a partnership and it is a friendship. And so the idea, as you explained, that Cleo was there for all of that,
Mm-hmm.
that the least you could do was minimize the suffering because they deserve it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, to me, that's a badge of honor thing.
What's She definitely deserved her last day, because that dog and I, oh God, like there was times where like I did, because normally how it would work was is I would get paid and I'd pay all my bills and then I go grocery shopping and then party.
Yep.
But there's times when like the coke and the booze got bad where I spent all my money first, and then me and the dog split a bag of potatoes. And I don't even know if I bought the potatoes. It might have been one of my roommates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Wild.
and then coming full circle to, I'm now in my second family home with not just my stepkids, but like my kids. and then she was nothing but like sweet to all of them.
Yeah.
Like, nah, she got to see it all.
So how do you convey that to your seed?
Ruth was asking me, because she saw me loading up with Cleo, and she goes, "Well, Dad, can I come?" And I said, "No."
Oh,
And and
man.
she got sad, of course.
Yeah.
And I said, "You can't come because I'm taking Cleo to go see her mom." And she goes, "What?" And like you know, like and it's just and Ruth is so smart too.
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm taking her to go see her mom." She goes, "Where?" I said, "Well, Cleo's mom lives in the sky." And she goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, that's she's old. She's just gonna go see her mom." Okay.
Bless
And
her heart.
yeah, well, then I came back home, and she goes, "Oh, where's Kiwo?" That's what Kiwo. Where's Kiwo? And I said, "Well, she died." And she goes, "Oh," because like she knows what died is, but I don't think she doesn't grasp the concept fully because
Yeah.
you know,
Cause
well,
yeah.
yeah, she's 3, and she died. And she goes, "Oh," and I said, "But she's not going to come back." She goes, "Oh, okay."
Mhm.
So I mean, and I called my oldest stepdaughter on the way home and told her what happened, figuring that she would tell her siblings, so like I wouldn't have to, because they're over at their dad's.
Oof. Let him deal
And
with it. Oh,
well,
that's awesome.
and Mila's the most empathic person ever.
Oh,
My the second stepdaughter.
yeah.
And it's like I don't want to tell her. I don't want to.
Oh man.
And so of course Scarlett didn't say anything, and she'd already left the house to go do 13-year-old stuff.
Yeah.
And so Brittany texted their dad, and he goes, "I'll tell him." And then, not even like 5 minutes later, there's a sobbing little girl phone call.
uh,
And Brittany, "Do you want to talk to Jake?" Uh-huh. Because, listen, she's got like actual angel in her or something. But both times my grandpa's died, and like anything that has made me like upset, she's been like right there when I got the news, like right next to me.
yeah.
And like I looked at her when Grandpa Impy died, and I was like, "Why are you always around when I'm crying?"
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and so she goes, and I said, "Well, do you want me to show you where she's buried when you come out here?" Uh-huh. Okay, we'll drive back out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the dogs? What's their reaction?
They were super quiet for a few days, for a
Yeah.
couple days. Mm-hmm.
That was interesting because, they've got no bearing.
Yeah. Well, she was the queen of the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like a power struggle? Is there
No, because it's
no?
still the two boys and then Ginger.
Yeah.
I eased it. I think I eased that too because Cleo didn't finish her pup cup and didn't want her second hamburger.
Yeah.
So when I came home, I just let Ginger inside so the boys could sit and watch while she got coronated. She got the rest of the pup cup and the other hamburger.
Mm.
Back outside.
And the other dogs got to watch.
Mm-hmm.
is that a purposeful power move?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
mm-hmm.
got you.
Because it's just pack mentality stuff. And
Okay,
if she's going to be the recognized top female dog,
yeah.
it's been acknowledged by you know what I mean.
Oh man.
If the human acknowledges it, I must acknowledge it too, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But, so, but if Flash wasn't so damn mentally disabled, he could come sit by my feet like she used to, but he can't.
So do they only have access to certain parts of the house? How does that work?
Flash. So Flash stays in a big kennel right by the sliding door when he comes inside.
Okay.
He, he can't he can't walk around that. He can't be trusted to walk around.
Okay.
And no matter how many times he's been trained and taught, don't pee in the house. Don't. He doesn't get it.
Gotcha.
So because he doesn't get it, he still gets to come inside, but he gets to enjoy his nice big kennel
Gotcha.
to watch everyone else snuggle and play. Because they just don't pee. They don't just pee on stuff.
Yeah. No, man, my cat. I had to get rid of my cat because when baby Rylan showed up, he did not like you,
Yeah,
and
the attention wasn't there.
he pissed all over this house, man. Like, and pettily, not out of necessity. This dude, oof. And then he got aggressive with her, and I was like, babe, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go, gotta go. So that got elongated. That period was way too long in my estimation, but it eventually happened. I wanted it to happen sooner, so my daughter had no recollection.
Mm-hmm.
She brings him up from time to time. Still, I'm just like, oh my god. Luckily,
My
Anna
par-
never saw the cat, but Ryland's still like, oh yeah, the cat you never saw. Yes, that one.
my parents had a cat when I was real young, and he had to go. Mom believes that he was inbred, which
Okay.
I don't know if that's how true that is or not. But I was in my crib, and Dad was sitting in like the chair next to my crib, just petting this cat who jumped up on his lap,
Yeah.
purring, and then it just bit him and wouldn't let go. So and then cat hits the ground, not on its legs like a cat normally does, and then runs under the bed. And then just laid under my crib and wouldn't come out. So Mom finally got this psycho and hurt cat out from under the crib, and then took him to the vet. And they're like, "Yeah, his hip's dislocated, and there's no way of putting it back." On top of this cat is obviously crazy. So that was the end of Turbo the cat.
Turbo.
And then I developed a cat allergy, so it's all good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, our youngest once a week asks about adding a cat to the party. It's like I wasn't a cat person to begin with. I loved my wife. That's why we had a cat. And
Hey,
so,
I understand that one. Hey, look at that.
oh man. So I mean, I've never been a cat person, and me and Tux was his name. We had our moments, but we didn't get along. And then that happened, and it was just like, oh, like if I had been close with him, things might have changed. But no, man, we didn't have that relationship. So my dog now, like, he's dope, but
Mhm.
he's a dog. So there is a distinct difference between my daughters and my pets,
Right.
like in terms of love. I mean, so the way I reacted to, you know, feeding one dog in front of the others, like if things go south with my dog, expeditiously.
Right.
Whatever that move is, it's happening with urgency. So um, I don't know. I guess my upbringing or whatever. I love my dog. I love my pets. It's just gotta go, gotta go. But
It's the name of the game.
there's a level with Tux. We found another home, so he's still
Yeah.
kicking. He's with another owner, and my wife. I don't think she's taken the girls or Rylan to go see him before, but I think that she has gone before. And I know that they get updates like random emails or whatever. But yeah, and my previous dog, my dad, um, I had a chocolate lab, and he was just too much. My dad's like, that guy's got he's got to go,
Mhm.
and so his name was Dookie.
Yeah.
And
Well,
see you later.
Labs's puppies are wild.
Yeah, no, he's like 3 years old, just a
Hmm.
motherfucking lightning bolt all the time, and for no other reason than he just is hyper as all hell. And my dad didn't play that shit. He was like you, no dog in the house, like no on not on the couch, hell no on the bed, like
Hmm.
so. I operate the same way, but my dog sleeps on our couch. He gets leniency that I didn't see as a kid with my pets, but there's definitely a line.
Man, Cleo Snugs were the best.
Yeah,
I'm not a big touch me when I'm sleeping person, but like she would either be like right on my side, sleeping long ways, like a long body pillow kind of thing, or just right at my feet.
yeah.
The best. The best.
So, how do you feel about taxidermy? Was that never an option?
No,
Yeah.
no. Like I think taxidermy is cool for like if you're wanting to remember a hunt kind of
Okay,
thing.
but
I
not
just,
someone you had like pups with.
no, man, I think that would be so strange. Like,
It just sounds strange to say that out loud.
yeah, but like,
Oh man.
yeah, dude, I don't. Yeah, that'd be so weird. And I couldn't have it. There's no way I could have anything taxidermied in this house.
Why? Why? Your kids?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, no, it's just that's it right there. The kids. Period. In the story.
Is that a common denominator in the
Oh
movies with the taxidermists? They're always single. They're always loners.
yeah,
No
yeah, you
kids.
gotta be.
Okay.
But like, what's my buddy Kyle has a bunch of stuff and that he's hunted that's taxidermied up over his house, but
Yeah.
it's up high where his children can't touch it.
Yeah.
But my and his kids, they got that like little wild bug in them because he and his wife both have that wild bug in them, no
Yep.
matter how adult and big jobs they have now. But my children are mine, and I'm outside of my mind, and my children have proven that they love that. They love that part of them, and they embrace it. So
Right.
there's no way, no how.
That's crazy. So you wouldn't oh man. Do people put taxidermy in a safe?
I guess you could, but
Ugh. I don't know, man. People like things near.
just so I could like get my dog's body out once a year and be like, no, no, no.
I've
Then put
been
him in
I've
bed.
been place I've been places where where their animal is still present in their property, like on a shelf.
Well,
Why?
like, I don't.
No
Not for
kids.
me.
No kids.
Yeah, yeah, gotta be.
Yeah, that's
Like
it. That was it.
as much
Taxidermy.
as much as like that'd be interesting.
Okay.
I guess I don't
Now,
know.
flip side, gratitude. Where do you find gratitude in this circumstance?
I had almost 13 years with my best friend. that no matter how fucked up I was or whatever, always loved me.
Hmm.
No matter where I went, no matter where I was living, no matter where I, moved or job I was working or job I wasn't working or what drug and or, drunk I was on. She was always excited to see me when I came home. And I'm very thankful for those times.
So the flip side of taxidermy, I've been seeing this trend of people getting pictures or paintings done of lost loved ones painted in a to now or like together now setting, and like everybody who gets it on the reveal they break down. Like it's emotionally captivating. And would you ever get something done in that fashion to celebrate her memory, but a visual that you can see with regularity so your kids can see your family? Any of that? Would that interest you?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I got a bunch of pictures
Yeah.
and,
People get tattoos of their pets and stuff like that. Is that no?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Nah. No, I'm not going to get a droopy ass basset hound tattooed on my body. As much as I love that dog, it's not going to happen.
Come on, man. People do crazy things.
People do crazy things, but I mean, like, I get it too.
Is there a point in time, because trauma slash uh, elation freeze at their peak? Is there a positive or negative time that will freeze frame in your mind attached to her memory? Because you mentioned the binges, you mentioned the trials and the tribulation. Is there something? Is there a positive, like, because like with your children, you'll have
Mm-hmm.
milestone moments. Is there a milestone moment with you raising her from being a puppy? Um,
She always loved sitting in the front seat and going on my long drive adventures.
nice.
Like she'd be visibly smiling, and it's like hard for a basset hound to do, but you could tell she was like actually happy to be on the road.
Dope.
And that was the thing about this last time too. Like she was not happy to be in the car.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Was
because
she
normally
irritable just like all of the time because of the pain?
I wouldn't even say irritable, but you could just tell that she was just uncomfortable as fuck.
Yeah.
Because that dog was never irritable as, to humans. Let me tell you this thing that she did to this Australian cattle dog pit bull that we have named Ginger. So basset hounds are medium-sized, long dogs, and Ginger is a Australian cattle dog pit bull mutt. So even as a puppy, she's not small. Well, this Ginger decided one day that she's going to test Cleo for the yard dominance as the dominant lady in the yard. So I'm hearing, and you're always, they always say never break up a dog fight, don't stick your hand in a dog fight. But I had to because my old dog, who realized her body weaknesses, dropped, rolled over on her back, and then had Ginger by her face. Okay, so this old sausage took this young, strong pit bull puppy, pretty much, and was like, fuck you. And it says Ginger's trying to get away, and Cleo's like, nah, I got your face.
Was the throne challenged for again?
That was what, no.
Okay. That was it. That was
She's
it.
like, so it was literally that, oh, that old bitch is crazy.
Point proven. Yes. Absolutely. That's great.
And yeah, so I mean, that was like, it's like scary as that was, it was also like, all right,
Yeah. Yeah.
you just got your ass beat by a 12-year-old dog.
All right. So that's your final grievance for this evening.
That's my final grievance for the evening.
My final grievance is ongoing. So this is my first year re-participating in fantasy football, and I was invited last minute by a gentleman who used to play for the Denver Broncos. So I'm not sure what it is about playing with actual NFL players makes it feel more interesting or what, but it does. So he's the league commish. He finished the league in first place, and we are facing each other in the first round. And I have Jalen Hurts and Jonathan Taylor. And prior to this week, that was a positive thing. I was favored by 23 points to beat him in the first week of our matchup. I was beaten by 1.8 points because he had Kirk Cousins as a starter. Now, I have Jared Goff on my bench, and I tossed between he and Cousins as my backup in case something happened to Hurts for this last stretch of the playoffs. And he's got him now. So I have to hope that, one, either Hurts plays or that Jared Goff does what he should do random times, is go off for like 25, 30 points. Jonathan Taylor has been dropped. He is not of service to me the rest of the year. God forbid. Or God bless him. Injury-prone season. Unfortunate. Still a monster. But yeah, man. I'm probably not going to beat him this week, and I'm going to finish in fourth. And I was favored to win by 20-something this week, and then past week, and then this week I'm still supposed to beat him by 8 points somehow. So I was supposed to dominate this matchup and be in place to win at least a couple $100, but that has since flipped on its head. So fingers crossed. The gratitude in the situation is I called the right shots. The injury bug hit me, which happens to everybody. The commish who I'm playing against, he even joked with me how much he thought he was going to get beat in this matchup. So like the fact that we're even neck and neck is like, he's kind of laughing about it all the way to the bank. But yeah, man, I've never been a lucky person. I feel like any fortune I've had has been on the tail end of skill or talent. So I don't get surprised by this at all anymore, especially when it comes to the betting that we've shared back and forth, the bad beats and little things like that. Yeah, man, this is another one of those things, but happy Festivus.
Happy Festivus. kind of like my parlays I send you. Like my 10-leg parlays, and I'm missing one every time. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, the one time that I don't do a round robin or something, I go 11-2. I'm just like, oh my Lord. So, yeah, awesome.
Gotta
sauce.
love it. Gotta love it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, happy Festivus. Feats of strength to come later, just not here.
Yes.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye. Oh, please, Warhorse, play.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.